I'm Harper. I always thought that I went to an ordinary school, but recently I realized that this is far from being true. The thing is that a ghost lives in our school. Is it easy to study in such an atmosphere? In my story, I'll tell you all about it. My school is located on the outskirts of the city, and they say that it used to be a military base. Then there was a huge fire, and the buildings with the soldiers inside turned to dust. For a long time, this place had been empty. Many people thought that it was cursed, but then our school was built here. Before, neither I nor the other students knew about this story, so we did not notice anything unusual. But when inexplicable phenomena began to occur in the school, someone remembered about the fire and the soldiers. That was how this legend became the most popular one in our city. It all started when our class entered the assembly hall to rehearse our New Year's performance. Since the light was turned off there, someone went to turn it on, but the hall was not lighted up at once. At first, the dim glow appeared, then it became a little brighter, and only after 2 or 3 minutes, the lighting was normal. So, when the first lights began to turn on in the darkness, we saw that some black object was moving along the stage. I don't even know how to describe what it was. It looked like an old woman with a scythe from the movies. It was so creepy. This was a shapeless black silhouette in the twilight. We started screaming, and then it calmly went backstage and disappeared there. Well, our eyes weren't playing tricks on all of us, including the teacher, at the same time. Needless to say, the rehearsal did not take place that day. We were literally shaking because of fear, and we wanted one thing: to get home to our parents as soon as possible. The next day, our teacher told us that most likely it was just an optical illusion, since not a single school camera captured anything suspicious. However, exactly next to the stage, there were no cameras. Yes, it was easier to blame everything on an illusion than to tremble because of fear. Well, it was also impossible to think about it all the time, so we decided not to discuss this situation anymore and try to forget about the incident. However, everything was peaceful for 1 week. Then, early in the morning, when we all just arrived at school, on the blackboards of each classroom, we saw inscriptions like, "I see you," "I know everything about you," "No one will go unpunished," and so on. At that point, it was really scary. The cameras again did not give any answers to our questions, and we were forced to continue studying with this fear. Paranormal phenomena did not end there. Soon, the security guy showed us a video in which the camera captured how a chair was flying in the air in the corridor at night. In another video, there was the same black silhouette that we had seen in the assembly hall before. It was a real nightmare. It gave us goosebumps. We were scared of our own shadows and startled because of our own movements. I'm not joking. As for me, I jumped from fear when I accidentally saw my own reflection in the mirror. The atmosphere was very heated. By the way, all this time, creepy inscriptions continued to appear on the blackboards and even on the walls every night. Sometimes there were some ancient symbols and scary drawings like skulls and snakes. What did all this mean? What is the goal of this mysterious ghost? What should we do to finally bring it all to an end? We were all seriously concerned about this problem. Those who had the opportunity even moved to other schools. The only thing we could do was to endure everything and hope that this would end soon. The ghost was seen every now and then in different parts of the school and scared us from time to time. Once, it even recorded an audio message for us on our literature teacher's flash drive. She uploaded some material for a lesson on the flash drive and turned it on so that we could all listen to it together. But instead, there were threats pronounced in a whisper. The ghost promised to lock us up at school and set it on fire. This wasn't funny at all, to be honest. We even held a school-wide parent meeting where everyone tried to solve the problem. But no one was able to give good advice, so everything remained as it was. That is, we continued living in constant fear. This did not feel very good. Some students started seeing a neuropathologist. Others were still okay, but at any moment, they could break. I belong to the latter category. Apparently, I was quite stoic because in my childhood, I often watched horror movies with my older brother, Lewis. By the way, he was a fan of this genre in his school years, and he still loves it, although he is already finishing university. Well, I guess he likes it when his nerves are rattled. So, information about the school ghost immediately interested him, and he was constantly asking about the new tricks of this creature. To be honest, I didn't like Lewis's keen interest in what was happening at school. I've always known that he would never study or monitor anything for no reason. Looks like my brother was up to something, but what was it? Or maybe he even knew something about this ghost? I didn't have to guess for long. Soon, Lewis said that he was going to secretly get to the school at night, install several cameras, and film the ghost. He said that if he managed to get a video, he would become a billionaire. Well, this sounded like a big plan, which was great, but why didn't he have the instinct of self-preservation? Did he consider himself immortal? I didn't really like this idea from the very beginning, so I tried to dissuade my brother from putting it into practice. But he was being stubborn, as always. When Lewis went to the school, I even thought about telling it to my parents. I was really worried about him, but then I decided to accept his decision. After all, he was no longer a child. However, I could not fall asleep that night. My brother was at the school, and nobody knew how these games with the ghost would end for him. What if I never saw him again? No, I needed to drive these thoughts away from myself. Everything's going to be fine for him. I hope he returns home soon. Lewis came back in the morning. I felt very happy and anxious at the same time when I heard him turning the key in the keyhole. My heart was beating really fast, and I was looking forward to seeing my brother. He entered the room and said that he had very important information for me and took out his camera. I was not ready to see that creature again and asked him to protect my psyche. I was not ready to look at the ghost again. Then Lewis said that it was better to see it once than to hear about it 100 times, especially considering that he found quite a logical explanation to the paranormal phenomenon in our school. He said that the video recorded by his camera was not scary at all, and he asked me to watch it. I agreed, but I must confess that it was very, very scary. Every second I was waiting for some kind of setup, considering Lewis's sense of humor. Scaring someone to death and then laughing was a usual thing for him. But no, there was not any setup in that video. Soon on the screen, I saw our school security guy. He walked down the hall with a large black bag. After a couple of minutes, I saw the ghost with the same bag. It was moving in the opposite direction. I did not immediately want to admit the obvious, but after a few minutes, a video from another camera started playing. In it, the ghost entered all the classrooms, one after another. After that, it stood in front of the camera and left. I was confused with one thing: the presence of the black bag. No, this could not be true. Probably it was just a coincidence, or the ghost created an illusion on purpose to set up the security guy. He had always been so kind to us, so I could not believe that this nice man was able to keep the whole school in fear. And why would he do that? Apart from that, I had never had any doubts about the fact that supernatural forces existed. Why is Lewis trying to convince me otherwise? I told him that this video was not proof for me. I would never believe that the security guy was capable of this. Unless, of course, he would confess this on his own. Then Lewis said that he would go to school with me, show the video to the headmaster and the security guard himself so that I would have the chance to see his reaction on my own while being next to him. I went to school together with Lewis. At the entrance, we were met by an alarmed security guard who said that at night, the ghost was writing on the blackboards in each classroom again and even got recorded by the video camera. When we entered his office to watch the video, I saw a large black bag in there, and while the guard left, letting us watch the video recordings, I decided to look inside the bag and see what was in it. And there, I saw a black ghost costume with a mask and some other stuff. Lewis and I immediately went to the headmaster and told everything. He was as shocked as we were, but agreed to go to the office of the security guard to check out everything on his own. There, we compared the videos from the school cameras and from Lewis's camera. The headmaster looked into the bag himself and saw the ghost costume in it. At that moment, everything was clear. It was our sweet security guard who had kept the whole school in fear for so long. But why would he do that? Soon, he answered this question himself. When he returned to his office, he immediately realized that he was exposed and there was no point in denying anything. He said that this year he suddenly felt old and realized that he no longer had the energy to keep order in the school as he used to. So he came up with this great plan to intimidate all the students and enjoy the unprecedented obedience. His plan worked. We were so frightened by this supposed ghost that we didn't even think about rebelling. By the way, he also came up with the story about the burnt down barracks to make everything look so real, and the chair that flew with the help of transparent nylon string, which was not visible in the video. That same day, the headmaster made the security guard retire.